Okay, I'm looking at this pattern created in Adobe Illustrator here, and I've just opened up this file with the extension .ps. So I'm assuming that's a PostScript. Yeah, PostScript format for this file. And when I open it, just by dragging this into Illustrator, that's how I got this open, you can see everything's nice and clean. So there's no tile lines. So those little lines that you see are artifacts that are left over from exporting from Illustrator to Photoshop. Probably takes place during the rasterization process, but you'll typically get these little white lines sometimes. So I have that, and let me show you what it looks like in Photoshop. So if I open Photoshop down here, and then I just drag this into Photoshop, and I will put this as CMYK just so everything's the same as what it is in Illustrator. You'll see these little lines in here. So we're familiar with that. This is the problem we're trying to correct. So we're going to do one thing that I found does work pretty well. And it's pretty simple. What you do is you go back into Illustrator, save as, or save a copy. Let's do save a copy. And we'll just put it on the desktop. We'll save it as a EPS file. So let me just get rid of all this stuff that I don't need, and we'll just call it .eps. We'll just leave the artboard. There's only one artboard, so we'll just leave it like that. So save, and then everything you see here, just leave as is. So I'm working on a Mac here. This is the options that I get. Sometimes you'll get different ones, but hit OK. We wanted to make sure it was transparent. That was checked. And now we have a copy, a .eps file on the desktop. So now what we'll do is I'm going to right click on this and go to open with. I have a couple versions of Photoshop here, but I'm going to open it in 2020. I'm sure it would work in 2019. And it's going to, this is our old one, by the way, that we see in the background, rasterize the EPS. So we're going to leave it as is. We're going to leave it at 300 ppi just for print resolution, and then CMYK color. I'm using CMYK color because, again, it looks like that's what was used in Illustrator. So let's hit OK. And it looks like it has fixed the issue. So you do have transparency now. You could create a solid color layer if you wanted to, whatever you want to do, obviously, but we're just checking it. So there's no issues there. It's in CMYK mode. And that's pretty much the simple way to do it. Now, if that doesn't work, another way you can do it is if you're in here and you just want to use, let's say, a PNG because you've figured out that the RGB mode is working just fine. PNG will offer you transparency, so we'll just do export as, and then I'm going to use PNG. And again, I'm just kind of a nerd about this. Let's just keep it that way. Desktop, export. Leave all this as is or designate your own resolution. So some people like to do a higher resolution. For print, 300 is fine. Transparent, very important. Make sure it's just selected as transparent, not white or black. And then we're going to hit OK, and it's going to generate a PNG. So we're just really changing the formats here. Let's take the PNG back into Photoshop, and we can see it's gone again. But we have it in RGB mode. So if you're looking to do something in print, I would just keep it in CMYK if you've been working in Illustrator in CMYK. That's really it. It should get rid of all the tiling lines, and whatever resolution you designated should appear there. I have not tried like a PDF. PDF may actually work. I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot right now. Let's save as, and then go down to PDF. Hit save. And I am just going to leave everything as is. We'll just try it. Why not? Let's see what happens. Let me look in output. Sometimes, yeah, let's do that. Let's just save PDF. Okay. Let's give it a shot. So sometimes just changing the format. That looks about right. It can help. Now this, see the PDF? It produced the line again. So far we've used EPS has worked and PNG has worked. And let me show you one more thing. I think this also has something to do with it. But if you go to export as, let's just see, PNG, export, we're just going to replace the old one. See where it says art optimized super sampling? Let's make it type, because you had tried a PNG this before. PNG, type optimized. Let's see if it produces those lines, because sometimes art, it's going to do a different rasterization. So when it anti-aliases things. So let's try type and see if we can produce the error again, because we just used art. So let's do that. And it's going to hopefully create a PNG again. I think it's this one. It should be this one, yep. So it just overwrote the other one. Let's take that back into Photoshop and see what happens. Yep, so we're getting the lines again. You can see them really faintly. So really, if you just wanted to try the PNG, you could do the PNG. Just make sure that art optimized subsampling is checked. So one more time. Export as. Sure, we'll just leave this. I'm just going to call it 2 just so that we know it's different. And then again, right here, anti-aliasing, art optimized. We'll hit OK. And I like to do things a number of times. So I apologize for the repetition here, but I think it's helpful just to kind of see. And there we go. See, it fixed everything. So try EPS if you want to kind of keep it that way. I don't think it really matters once you're once you're rasterizing things. You just want to make sure your resolution is good. And that's it. That's about it. So I got RGB here. Anyway, I hope that helps. I kind of had a hunch that it might be the issue that was being caused, but I had to think about it and actually see it. All right. Thanks.